Welcome back to PAX Unplugged. Jason Levine from the Dice Tower here, and I'm here with Nate Stoddard. Now, you're looking at something here that's very different than you've seen before. Nate is from Harmonix, who you guys know from Rock Band mostly, right?
Yep, Rock Band, Dance Central. We just came out with Beat Sports for the Switch. Been making music games for nigh on 20 years.
But now Harmonix has done something new. They're working with Hasbro on a new product called DropMix, which is actually a combination music and, I guess, board game.
Yep, it's a physical card game that has a digital component. So what we have here are a bunch of cards, and each card has a piece of music and a little NFC chip in it. And we have a board with 5 NFC readers. The board connects to your phone or tablet, iOS or Android, through Bluetooth. And so the app on your phone knows everything that you put into the game. So you put a card into the mix, and it registers the power level, the color, and then it starts to play that particular piece of music. So every card is a piece of music. We have red, we have blue, we have green, and here we have yellow. The different colors correspond to different parts of a song. So we have bass lines in green, we have beats in blue, we have melodic loops or guitar riffs in red, and then we have lead vocals or lead parts in yellow. So as you play the game, you're going to have a mashup of whatever the current state of the cards are. So the game is purely physical, but it has this digital component that kind of makes it even more interesting. The other thing about having a digital component is all of the rules, all of the scoring, your hand size, all of the information about the game is all controlled by the tablet. So you don't have to worry about whether you're making a wrong play or whether something is legal or keeping track of your score. The app can do all that for you.
No, it sounds very interesting. So you're talking about hand limits and stuff. Tell me more about the gameplay part, because this is obviously where you guys took it into the gaming world.
Totally. So what we're in right now is freestyle. So there's 3 ways to play, and freestyle is kind of the easiest one to just jump into. You can mix whatever music you want and just kind of make music, right? All of the different cards can mix with anything else, and so you have, you know, millions of combinations if you start messing around with the tempo and the key. And if you ever find something good, this button is there for all the game modes. You can save it off, save your mixes with your friends. So freestyle, you can create mixes, save them, share them. It's purely creative. It's really easy to jump into. The other 2 modes that we have here are Clash, which is our competitive deck building mode. That's a head-to-head mode. And Party, which is our co-op mode. Party kind of lives in between the 2 extremes of Clash, which is the most strategic, most kind of, you know, brain intensive, and Freestyle, which is very easy to jump into and very creative. In the middle, we have Party mode, which is co-op. Everyone's working together, using the cards, using the different colors and powers to try and get a high score against the computer. So it's very fun. You can kind of get into it. It gets a little bit frenetic. It also is pretty easy to jump into, and it'll teach you the rules or the constraints for how to bridge the gap into Clash mode if that's a little bit overwhelming at first. So we kind of have 3 different ways to get into the game. They all use the same tech. They all use the same different qualities of the card. We have different parts of a song. We have different power levels, and that kind of dictates the constraints.
Now, I saw earlier there were people in here, and they were trying to get their cards on the quickest. So Is that the way the game plays?
That's Party mode. So to show you guys quickly, if we're just going to play the 2 of us, we'll tap us both in here. So what we're going to see on the screen now is a bunch of requests from the game. So if we each have a hand of 7 cards, we're going to see a request for maybe a power level. There's 1s, 2s, and 3s, and it's up to everyone as a team to meet that as quickly as possible. So here we have a 2, throw in a 2, that starts the mix off, and we get a number of points. This is going to continue over the course of a whole 5 rounds, and the requests are going to get more quick, more frenetic. They're going to also get a little bit more difficult. So you as a team have to work together to try and get the mixes, fill out the mix as quickly as possible so that you can get the high score. It's always a little bit fun. It always gets a little bit frenetic. You know, the thing that you kind of learn most quickly is what are the legal plays, because it'll call you out if you get something wrong and it'll penalize you. That's why it takes a little bit of practice to get good at, but once you get good, it can be really fun for a party atmosphere. The other thing is, if it's in a party, you're building a soundtrack, right? Any of the game modes, you're building a song, and so you can build the soundtrack, and if you're at a party, it'll be a way to kind of create music and create a cool atmosphere.
Yeah, which is, I mean, with all your games, it's like that. You guys get, obviously, you get the licensing for the music, which makes it easy to put in songs that everyone knows and they can hear things.
Oh yeah, licensing makes it so much more appealing. You know, you see a song that you like, you see a different part of a song, or a song that you're not so familiar with, and you mix them together, and it creates something that you wouldn't have expected, but sounds really good. Is one of the kind of magical things that comes out of this. You know, I've been playing the game for nigh on 3 years. The first time I played it, and I still find things with the cards that we have that I've never heard before that sound great.
Now, what about this head-to-head mode? This sounds like for the people who are competitive. How do you play that one?
So the head-to-head mode, like I said, is kind of the most strategic, the most in-depth, and we can jump into a quick game of that too. You can play 1-on-1, 2-on-2, or 2-on-1, so it's up to 4 players, and it's made so it's intended for everyone to have their own deck. You can either custom build your deck, which is kind of what we recommend at the kind of the highest, most competitive level, but you can also use a pre-made deck, and that's defined by these symbols down here. We're kind of, the way that we're presenting our cards to the market is you can buy a genre of music that you like in a complete deck, so you don't have to worry about deck building. You can just, I want to play with the hip-hop deck, I'm going to pick this hip-hop deck and play with it. So if we're playing 2-on-2, you can tag in a deck for each player. Because the board can read multiple cards at a time, it can tell you what deck you're working with. You can also use the deck building screen to build a deck on the fly to kind of get an even distribution of colors and effects cards and wild cards. And that can be really useful also if you want to make something that's your own kind of custom personal deck. Once you have all the players in, it's a turn-based, action-based game. That is to say, each turn you get 2 actions. And an action can either be putting a card into the mix to try and score points, or you always have this DropMix button here. And what that gives you a chance to do is knock the other team's cards out of the mix and take away points. So it's a way to kind of attack the other team, kind of take back some board real estate. So, if I play a red and a yellow, that'll give me 2 points for each card, and it'll pass the turn. So all of the rules of the game are tracked on the board. It tells you your hand size. It'll also tell you what bonuses are up, and this is how you really want to score big, is by taking advantage of the color bonuses. These pop up whenever there's a color that isn't represented. So here we have a red and a yellow. We don't have a blue and a green. So if I'm on the other team, I really want to play those blue and green cards to get that extra bonus. So I put in a card, gives me a point for the card, and then an extra point for having that bonus point. The other thing that you want to do when you build your deck is use these black and white effects cards. Every effects card has a unique extra benefit, a unique extra action. Some let you play extra cards, some give you bonus points. This one allows me to draw an extra card, right? So it doesn't have a musical identity, but it has a very relevant gameplay identity, right? And so this is the crux of, if I'm going to build a deck, I want to use a bunch of effects cards, a bunch of music cards that work well with each other, so they can really create big combos. And that's kind of what you see at the higher, more competitive levels of people mixing and matching effects cards and music cards, not only that are really powerful, but also music that you like. I like metal. I'm going to build a metal deck that's all guitars, and I'm going to make a combo that builds off of all the guitars. It's a really satisfying thing to do because you have your music aesthetic contributing to your really powerful strategic moves.
No, this sounds very interesting. So how did you decide to go from, I guess, just straight video games to this, and how did you partner up with Hasbro on this?
Well, we've known Hasbro for ages. We're both kind of 2 New England companies. Hasbro's in Rhode Island, we're in Boston. The game went through a lot of different iterations trying to perfect this music mixing and representing music with cards and card building, and there's a lot of digital card games out there in the world right now. When we started talking to Hasbro, they're mostly a toy company. They know the physical market really well. And so one of the things that really pushed our decision, not only because we wanted to partner with Hasbro, was also the fact that making a physical game was going to set us apart a little bit from, a lot of the other purely digital card games, right? If we come out with a physical product that has this digital component to it, we're kind of unique. We're not just a digital card game. Ideally we want to make more digital stuff. We want to keep using this tech, but for DropMix right now, making it physical kind of made the most sense. You know, it brought more people into the game, and we were still able to make it kind of an interesting, competitive, you know, environment with these other game modes that are either creative or just kind of more collective.
Yeah, it's how much. So you have product out now. The game is out. How much do you have out now?
So the board, the starter kit, which is the board and 4 decks of 15. So the board and 60 cards is kind of the starter set. We also have 4 additional playlist packs, which are also full decks of 15. So you can buy a pre-built deck like you'd buy any other pre-built deck in any other LCG or CCG. We then have Discover packs, which are our version of booster packs. They're not true booster packs because they're not randomized. So in those Discover packs, there are 4 additional playlists that you can get there if you mix and match the right ones. There's hip hop, there's retro music, there's rock and roll, there's a bunch of different pop music, there's, you know, a bunch of different genres, and all are kind of represented each within their own playlist. So you're incentivized to find the music that you like either in the Discover packs or in the full playlist. We're going to have more cards coming out over the next few months. The full first season is going to be over 300 cards, and that will be you know kind of roll out over the next couple of months. So keep your eyes open at your your local retailers, and they should have some more stuff, you know, in the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, well, obviously this is mainstream style, and the companies you guys and Hasbro sell in big box stores. So which kind of stores do you have this in?
So primarily right now it's Amazon, Target, Toys R Us, and Best Buy are the main places you can get it. You can also find it in all their online stores as well.
And will you eventually, obviously you work very well with Xbox, PlayStation, all of this. Are you planning to port this over, or is this going to stay the way it is and be more of an app thing?
It's a great question. We're kind of waiting to see how well it does and what our market is. You know, no one has made a game like this before, so you know, we want to see how well it does during holiday. We want to see how many expansion packs people buy, you know, what people want to see. It's so much easier to kind of come out with an app and update an app, and everyone has a phone, that it was kind of a no-brainer to make sure that we were on phones first, just so that we could have the most accurate view of what our install base might be. In the future, who knows? I mean, we love working with those guys. We want to kind of bring in as many different communities as possible, and we certainly don't want to exclude the gaming community or the core gaming community from being able to play this game as well. So time will tell of what people like, and we want to make sure that we can kind of accommodate, you know, every audience that we can.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it kind of goes with what PAX Unplugged is, because PAX started out as a video game convention, and with a little bit of board gaming, and now Unplugged is a lot of board gaming with some video, and now you're kind of branching into the board gaming kind of area.
Exactly. I mean, I think games are a thing for everyone, and to try and, you know, expand your boundaries of what you can do as a player in the games that you're interested also applies to a developer, right? Like, we want to try and make new things for all in all different platforms, and this just happened to be one that we internally at least felt was so strong and so fun and so powerful that we really wanted to get it out there, and so far people seem to like it too, so we're not too wrong, at least not yet, right? And so who knows what happens in the future. And I would encourage every developer, every gamer to try stuff that they think is interesting, even if it's not the thing that they've, you know, done classically, right? Like, that's how we kind of figure out what the new cool thing is.
No, exactly. And what do you think in general about, I guess, apps with board games? Since this is your first time doing this, how do you feel about this now that you've done one?
I really like it. It's a level of complexity that I wasn't entirely prepared for. I've done hardware testing and hardware development. I've done app testing and app development. This kind of bridges the gap between those two things in a way that I'd never had before. So it was a few challenges, but it's been very cool. And, you know, you can always imagine your favorite board game or your favorite card game and what you could do in an environment where you have all of the power of a computer running things behind it. You know, you can take out some of the cognitive load of, you know, calculating things and keeping track of things, and you could potentially do some much more interesting things with randomization or with surprise count, you know, whatever it might be. So it opens up a really interesting space, but obviously it's contingent on having a piece of hardware or a piece of tech behind it that allows you to do interesting things.
Yes, and this piece of tech looks great. I gotta play some. I gotta do something here. Let me drop this and see what happens.
All right, you got an effects card that's clear all opponent blues.
Ah.
See what we get out of this. So there's one in play, so you just knock that blue out of the mix.
I'm gonna smash down a blue here and make this mix. I'm gonna drop it.
Here, drop this. That's a blue and a green. So put it in the base slot, and you'll get both the blue and the green, and you'll make the whole mix sound like what the card is.
Okay, here we go. Let's see if you all know this song. Don't just stand there, bust a move. Oh, put it here.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. We got the bust a move going. No, this is great, and obviously, I'm assuming, as always, you're picking songs that the majority of the crowd is going to know.
We try and hit a wide swath. I'm sure there's stuff in here that you recognize. We're hoping to license more stuff, depending on the success of the game. You know, any artist out there that's kind of interested, we want to get the game in front of you, and it's easier to license when there's more artists that are interested in it. So check out the songs that have been released so far. Check out the stuff that's coming out later. I'm sure there's something in there that you like, and you'll be able to mix some music that's pretty cool.
Where can they find the list of songs?
There's a few lists out there. If you go to any of the retailers, they'll tell you some of what's in the packs that they have. We also have a subreddit and a Discord channel that you can get a lot of information and connect with the rest of the DropMix community. We have a great community so far. It's getting a little bit of steam behind it. We love them. If you're interested in getting more involved, those are the two places to do it, and there's a lot of information out there. Particularly if you're looking for particular songs that have been released, it's an easy way to kind of see what packs you need to get the songs that you want.
Very interesting, and obviously you're following the, I guess, LCG, CCG model.
Yep. More LCG than CCG. We don't have random packs, so think Netrunner rather than Magic, right? We want people to be able to choose their music and not get doubles.
Well, for me, that's a win because I hate having to get cards and then get doubles and swap them. I'm much happier getting a pack of everything.
Yep. If you want doubles, you can always get it, but you got to buy the same thing twice.
That won't be me.
Bust a Moves card. You might want a second Bust a Move card every once in a while.
I might want to Bust a Move a lot. We'll see. Anyway, thank you so much, Nate, for coming on.
Oh, thank you, Jason. This has been great.
Yes, and so look for DropMix from Harmonix and Hasbro in all of your stores. And again, this has been Nate from Harmonix here, giving us a look at this great game, which I'm now busting a move on. I'm going to slap this button and see what happens. I'm spinning.
Spinning for the threes.
Spinning for the threes. Let's see what happens.
We got it.
We got it. So, anyway, once again, this is Jason Levine from the Dice Tower here at PAX Unplugged with another Dice Tower interview.